right, so some day games to tackle here, and let's start with the first one on the slate, Nationals and Pirates. This one, 81 degrees at first pitch, 12:35 p.m. Eastern. There, 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left field. San Francisco and the Cincinnati Reds right after them, 12:40 p.m. Eastern, 75 degrees, 10 miles an hour out to left. Kansas City and Detroit, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. The Angels and the Yankees at 1:35. And then the Rays and the White Sox, 2:10 Eastern. So those first 5 games on the slate here, some advantageous weather conditions. Again, if you are headed to Yankee Stadium later this afternoon, you've seen a lot of home runs already. Get ready if you're in left center. You're going to see a lot more. 86 degrees, 10 mile an hour out to left center field. Ripe conditions here, Moose, for not only the Angels offense, which has been pretty prolific, but, man, the Yankee offense, a big win coming from behind last night to walk it off. They would like a little bit more of a rocking chair scenario here, trying to get out to an early lead.
Yeah, maybe they get it. They've got the right guy on the mound in Fried, who's been, obviously their best starter and was a year ago and is pitching to an under 2 ERA. So it's a free day. They're a decided favorite. They're nearly $3 favorite in the game. But you mentioned in terms of, you're heading out to the ballpark. It's going to be a beautiful day in the Bronx, and you expect some home runs. You hit upon it earlier, Jensen, in terms of Trout, who has had an unbelievable series in the Bronx as well for the Angels. So it's good to see him healthy and doing what Mike Trout can do in a Major League Baseball uniform as well. But as weather starts to warm up and, where the days of the month of spring in Northeast, weather starts to warm up, we're going to see more and more home runs. And I love the aspect of, and you've done it throughout the course of the week, Jensen, I know you do it with Dave as well, in terms of looking at weather conditions, because that's always a factor when you're looking at Major League Baseball games, especially with what you can do individually betting home runs and looking for guys and looking for great value. So I don't think the Yankees are hoping Fried gives up a lot, but maybe they get it the other way going up against the Angels.
We had Greg Peterson on earlier. He gave out the under in the Washington and Pittsburgh game. First one on the slate. I'm going to tail, and I'm going to play the under 9, as he alluded to. Foster Griffin, Braxton Ashcraft, I think an ideal spot here. It's been a low-scoring affair here the last couple of days. Pittsburgh getting a big win yesterday as they get past the Nats in shutout form, 2-0. I think we're back to it. So under 9. An official play for me. Listen, the Giants and the Reds. Giants have had one of the worst starts offensively and really have not been a club that has put up a lot of resistance in that regard. Reds got out early and often yesterday. It was Sal Stewart, yet again, who is now your shortest odds, I should say, to be the National League Rookie of the Year. Again, very early here, but, man, a rookie hitting cleanup and what he has done from a production standpoint, that has been really good. I do like him for 2 or more hits, runs, RBI today. Opta AI and those projections also agreeing in that regard. So if you're looking for some player props in that one, it is going to be some advantageous hitting conditions. TJ Friedel would be a guy potentially to target. On the flip side, Luis Arraez, 2 or more hits, runs, RBI, also popping on the Opta AI projections. So just a couple of player props there in the San Francisco and Cincinnati game. Interesting matchup here with Kansas City and Detroit. I gotten burned the last couple of nights playing overs. It has been back-to-back 2-1 games. It's been back-to-back comeback wins here for the Tigers late in both those outcomes. It's Chris Bubich against Cater Montero, 1:10 p.m. Eastern at Comerica Park. Hey, Kansas City kind of needs a win here. Detroit winners of 5 in a row. Kansas City's had multiple opportunities with runners in scoring position, have not been able to get it across. Would you rather lay it here with the Royals at minus $1.10 or go back on the flip side and think that the Tigers can come up with their 6th win in a row?
I'm going to ride the heater with Detroit. I really am. We talked about a little bit earlier, Kevin McGonigal, their young shortstop, getting the contract extension he did out there in Detroit. We also talked about it a little bit earlier in the week when, Detroit, before they got this winning streak going, we're going to lean in on the Tigers and the strength of that starting rotation. And when things start to go right, and Detroit is one of those teams that and every day is a good day if you're a Los Angeles Dodger. And right now, if you're Dave and a New York Met fan, every day is a bad day, right? So when you look at the Tigers right now, I'd lean into the positive when you're looking at the Tigers, and I'd take them at home this afternoon against the Kansas City Royals.
All right, so first 5 on the slate and a couple of more day games to jump into. Tampa Bay is going to be in Chicago. They finally did it yesterday, Mark. After, 15 long years, they finally won on tax day on April 15th, and they were able to beat the Chicago White Sox. They will head with Steven Matz back to the mound in the series finale today. Jordan Leisure, it's going to be an opener here for the Chicago White Sox on the south side, 2:10 p.m. first pitch. Texas and the Athletics. It's going to be Jack Leiter and Jacob Lopez. Good matchup here from a pitching standpoint. Could see some runs in that one, or we could finally see an under. The only under that's gotten there, thank God I bet it the day that it did. There were 3 total runs there, but an over hits yesterday. Perhaps we see some more runs this afternoon. 3 night games for you. An early one that might have some implications in the American League Rookie of the Year market. Young left-hander Parker Messick of the Cleveland Guardians up against Shane Baz of the Baltimore Orioles. 6:10 p.m. Eastern first pitch. Parker Messick all the way down to 15-1 in the American League Rookie of the Year market. I know that Jonathan Von Tobel, Mitch Moss were talking about it a little bit on Pod to the Futures on their podcast, and maybe some value there. But you got to be impressed with not only what Messick has done, but the Guardians rotation as well, Mark.
Yeah, no question. I want to get back to, Jensen, are you, when you go to the roulette table, right, are you a with the streak or against the streak guy? When you look up at the board and there's a run of like 6 blacks in a row or there's 6 reds in a row, are you going against the color that's on a streak, or are you going with it?
I am sitting on the sidelines of the worst odds in the casino that you can do, but it is theater. It is theater when you see 6, 7, 8, 9 reds in a. It's got to be red, and then it goes black.
Yes, I'm with you. I go with the streak. I mean, that's a question you got to ask, like, because there are people that have opposite viewpoints. So, yeah, and listen, this has nothing to do with Major League Baseball. I get it, but when you're talking about the fact of a team trying to, like right now, it's when you look at teams that are playing well, I think early on, it's never an indicator. Like we were talking about the San Diego Padres earlier on, and they're continuing their series against the Seattle Mariners, right? And even though that an unbelievable victory last night against Seattle, their marketplace really hasn't changed when the complexion of the National League West, while they're in that same division with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But I really do believe until when you see a team, especially over a stretch of time, and you got to judge baseball not just day in and day out, but really over 1 to 2 week stretches and way a team is trending. If a team's playing well, like Detroit's playing well, if a team's playing poorly, like the Mets are playing poorly right now, the Yankees get a little bit of a break last night, I think it's best to kind of lean into it whichever way it might be going. And I understand everything could change. It's a long MLB regular season, but there's no question when you got to look at the trends across Major League Baseball. I brought up the strange example when looking at roulette table, but the point being is that you can't overreact to one game in particular. You got to look at the overall quality or lack thereof of a way a team is playing.
I would target a couple of bats in that Guardians and Orioles matchup. On the Orioles side, Gunnar Henderson would be a guy, and also popping in the Opta AI projections here, 2 or more hits, runs, RBI. Chase DeLauder, too, has struggled a little bit of late after an absolutely torrid start, but Opta AI liking Chase DeLauder for 2 or more hits, runs, or RBI. By the way, I did get to the money line on the Guardians. I will lay the $1.25 for Cleveland to win the first game of their homestand. They come back after dropping their series finale to the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday afternoon. You mentioned the Padres, 5-run ninth inning to come back and really shock the Seattle Mariners. A big win to continue as the hottest team in Major League Baseball right now. They're winners of 7 in a row. Luis Castillo for the Mariners, Walker Buehler for the Padres tonight. I'm going to play the over 8 in that matchup. I think the offense continues for both sides. I like the 8 tonight here, Mark, for the Seattle and San Diego matchup.
Yeah, I think you're going to get runs. And I think if you're leaning toward, I mean, with the way that Castillo is throwing the ball right now, so far this year for Seattle, and obviously with Walker Buehler on the mound for the San Diego Padres, I think you're going to get runs out there. So when you look at the starting pitchers, I think both offenses have shown you to be live to begin the season. They've shown you to be live over the course of this series. An unbelievable collapse by Seattle, remarkable comeback by San Diego last night. It really was, as we were talking about it off the air with Mike Palm a little bit earlier in the show, Jensen. But I agree with you. I think you're going to get runs late out there at out in beautiful San Diego.
No official play for me, but if I'm looking for an over lean as well, the Colorado and Houston game, Juan Mejia, Ryan Weiss, the matchup there, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. That is your 10-game slate for the Daily Diamond here on a Thursday. When we come back, we will talk about the final regular season day in the National Hockey League. Chris Meany will join the program, writer and editor at NHL.com. All the implications today and a look ahead to the Stanley Cup playoffs when you come back on VSiN by the Books.